everybody. Welcome to the Guts to Fail. It's February 11th, and I have a very amazing guest today. His name is Brian Wysong, and he is half of the ownership of Tumbleweed TexStyles. TexStyles. Yeah. Jeb Matulich, I'm so glad I know how to say that, is the other half, and he is at his day job at the high school teaching art to impressionable minds. So we love him to death, and someday I'll have him on here too. But we're very happy to have you, Brian. And I can't say enough things about what you bring to the Rail District. You know, I live in the community. I eat, sleep, and breathe this place. And having you as a female, your products in store it's literally the place we go to for all male gifts in my family. And we took my brother out to eat last night, another Frisco staple down the street. And in order to get him a present, I said, "Hey, Matt, run," literally, like run over there because you're across the street, and just pick something out for Ryder. Literally anything that you buy there is going to be perfect, except I had already bought all of his presents for Christmas from there. So I was like, nope, he already has that. Nope, he has that one too. So anyways, we are very glad to have you. And I want you to just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and the start of Tumbleweed TexStyles.
For sure. Well, thanks for having me. Greatly appreciate it. And on this bitterly cold day. So basically, in a nutshell, my background, I graduated from Texas Tech with a marketing degree, and directly out of college, I took a job as a marketing director at a church and also was a college pastor. And so that led me to work at a marketing agency in Dallas. Loved it, every bit of it. I loved the hustle, loved the branding and marketing side of things, but missed helping people. So I found myself transitioning to being a marketing teacher in the career technology program in Frisco ISD at Liberty High School. And there I actually met Jeb Matulich, who was the art teacher. And that's where we dreamed up and created what is now Tumbleweed TexStyles, a Texas-inspired apparel brand. We started back in 2011. With a $700 investment, $350 each. And fast forward from 2011 to 9.5 years later today, we have, I guess, close to 400 or so retailers throughout Texas. We do custom jobs and work with brands like Whataburger, 7-Eleven, Ozarka, and most excitingly, I was gonna say, most exciting, we just opened our brick and mortar store here in downtown Frisco. Oh, yeah. And so that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Yes. And you also, one other brand that Matt always has in his hand is Topo Chico.
Yes.
Right. And so oh my gosh. Yeah. We're very excited about your brick and mortar because it's so convenient. Tell us about the style of your brand, like how y'all came up with it and really dialed in. Tell us the background of that, because I'm looking at that thing behind you, which is a screen, and your font, the sort of Southwestern, but how would you describe your brand? I want to know how you describe it.
Right. So when we started Tumbleweed TexStyles, at the end of the day, Jeb and I found a common denominator of our love and passion for Texas, but it wasn't the political side of Texas. You know, people think of Western cowboys or politics, and to us, it was more about music and getting out and experiencing life, traveling. I mean, Texas has ocean, has the lakes, has the rivers, and New Braunfels has far west Texas, the El Capitan, which is what you see behind me. Yeah. And so for us, it was good eats, good drinks, good travel, and having a good time. And so when we started establishing our brand, we knew we had to be more than just a t-shirt company. T-shirt companies honestly, everyone, if you go on Facebook, Instagram, you're going to see a lot of people starting a photography business or a t-shirt company, and they slap a logo on it thinking they're creating a brand. But for Jeb and I, we understood that there's so much more to it. And to me, a good definition is communicating the essence of who you are in everything that you do. So the way your fonts, your color scheme, the excitement behind your social media, the copy that you write on your website, every element are the bones and skin of what creates the perception of what people see in your brand, which then ultimately directs the way people feel when they purchase it, but also the way they feel when they wear it. And then that directly affects the way people either want to follow it as a loyal fan, raving fan, or it's just a one-time shirt that they put in their closet and maybe never wear again. So when we created this brand, we loved Far West Texas, kind of like Patagonia outdoors brand, but kind of focusing on Big Bend area. So when you walk in our store, you'll see a lot of plants, cacti, colorful artistic scenes of like Marfa, which is a very artistic community. And of course, a lot of the colors of like the desert in Far West Texas, and promoting hiking and just living a good life.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So let me put us back here. So that's really powerful to me, because I experienced something this past week with a brand or a company in one of the consults that I did, and in helping that brand. I noticed that a lot of entrepreneurs, looking back through my Bungalow U Facebook group, people equate a brand with a logo, like literally like the brand that you put on a cow. I think,
Yeah.
like they think that it's the actual shape and the thing. But the brand, like what you're saying, building a brand isn't about plastering your logo on everything. It's about building that rapport, that style, that personality. And like you said, my pen ran out, but communicating the essence of who you are through everything that you do. Is that what you said?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, so in your font, your color choice. Now, the color choices that you use throughout your brand and a lot of your products, you're saying, come from that specific niche place of Big Bend.
Exactly. And things that you would find in Big Bend or New Braunfels, it means a lot to us. So, when we look at our company, the connection was Jeb and I went to Texas Tech, different years. And so you'll see that bold red that kind of comes from Liberty High School, Texas Tech, City of Frisco, which is all common denominators to our brand. But then we also have 3 other connections outside of Lubbock, and that's our love for West Texas, but then also San Antonio, New Braunfels, and then I'm from Fort Worth. So all the elements on our brand, colors, and even the shapes and symbolism behind some of our designs kind of root from those 4 areas and regions of Texas.
Okay, so I have several different questions on this, but one of my questions is, I'm going to bookmark the sweatshirt with the Indian head on it with all the stuff in his hair.
Yes.
Mark that. We got to talk about that next. So
okay. For sure.
But in the meantime, okay, never mind. Let's talk about that one first. I think that would go first. So I think that knowing more about your brand and the symbolism behind it makes the designs more powerful and more internalized. Tell me about that particular sweatshirt, because that's what Matt was sending me pictures, and he's like, "What about this one?" I was like, "Okay, and yes, I like that one. How do I choose?" So tell me about that one specifically, because that came up yesterday.
Well, first off, like I said before, there's a lot of brands out there, and I hate to say brands, there's companies out there that do T-shirts all the time. But for us, authenticity is one of our 3 words that we want to define our brand. And so with authenticity, everything we do, there's some kind of touch point with our brand, whether our history, our family bloodline, Texas history, Texas experiences. So with the chief, Jeb was a Texas history teacher at Clark Middle School here in Frisco. And a big part of Texas history is cowboys and Indians, and especially in Far West Texas, that's a big deal. I go out to Floyd data all the time to go hunting with my friends. And when we're walking in the canyon, we see arrowheads all the time, and it's pretty awesome. So that chief design is basically paying homage to Texas history in what we believe is a very respectable and honoring way. And then that design is hand drawn by Jeb. And so within that chief headdress, you will actually see TEXAS spelled out. And then in the very center, you'll see the shape of Texas around the ear. And again, it's paying homage to the Native Americans, Indians that once made up what Texas, the Texas history. So
yeah, I love that. And I also love that no matter where you go, the grocery store, I'm at Market Street, I have literally looked around and seen people wearing t-shirts. I'm like, that's Tumbleweed. That's Tumbleweed. I know that's Tumbleweed. And I love that aspect of it. Now, the other question I had is about niching down, which I think is awesome because you're paying homage to the Texas history. And by the way, Jaden went to Clark Middle School. I wonder if Jeff was his teacher. But people are afraid in my experience, and even myself, when I first started, all I knew was to emulate other people that had been successful. I'm like, okay, well, I got to do what they do. So I'm going to put a big white cow on my counter, and then I'm going to put my furniture right over here. I'm going to paint it gray because that's what everybody else was doing. Then I realized I was everyone else, and I didn't stand out. Talk on this point. When you niche down like that, it's not that you're alienating people. It's that you're finding specific people.
right.
And you're connecting with actual people instead of trying to say everything and speaking to no one.
Exactly. And and of course, having a background in marketing branding, I was able to work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies and clients. And I've learned through that experience the hard way as I was putting together strategic plans for other companies. I guess that's a little cheat sheet for me as we started our own company. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, this is kind of a litmus test for us is what are the key words that we want to define our brand? And so for us, one is quality. We want to not be the $10 t-shirt or a $20 t-shirt. We want to be a $25+ t-shirt that our retailers can sell for $35 if they want to, and they do, and they have a lot of success. We want to have creativity as a key word, and that becomes part of our brand, and that's hand-drawn designs that we create, that we don't copycat. And if there's ever a doubt that we copied it or from influence in a way that we didn't realize, we don't do it. And then third word is authenticity, is we want to design things and create things that fit our lifestyle, not who we aspire to be, not who we're trying to copycat, but who we are. And so every time we do designs, every time we do a social campaign, every time we look at collaborating with some company, those are three words we stop and think, okay, does it fit these three things? Mm-hmm. Then based off our core values as a company, we ask, is it family friendly? Is it promoting the lifestyle that we want to promote? Is it something our senior pastor would get mad about? Is it something my mom would get mad about? And so when we go through those kind of rules, and if everything's checked off as everything's good, then we move forward with it. And I think a lot of businesses, especially during COVID, chase. They think, oh no, we got to survive. Oh no, look what they're doing. We want to be like them. And when you get in a position as a company or as an entrepreneur to chase, you're going to fail because it's not you doing it. It's someone else. And so, entrepreneurs need to understand knowledge is power. Mm-hmm. And you got to read books. You got to study other brands. You got to study other businesses, and you got to stop and not see what are they doing, but you got to understand why are they doing it, mm-hmm. and then figure out your own secret recipe. And at the end of the day, if you're doing something because you love it and you're passionate about it, it's probably going to be more successful than you copying someone else's passion. Because if you're copying someone else's passion, you're not going to be able to live it and be it, and therefore it's going to have probably a short shelf life. But if it's something you're able to live authentically on social media because that is your lifestyle, mm-hmm. then it's going to be successful because people want to follow those that are confident and those that are authentic and those that are real.
Oh my gosh, that's so powerful. And I think that something that you didn't even mention, but I would guess is the truth. You attract you by being authentically who you are. Every one of your clients is like your people. You're like, oh my gosh, you like this too.
Right.
Oh, you hunted there. Oh, how many arrowheads did you find? I mean, everyone that understands what that is behind you on that logo, they're like, oh, I did that. I've been there. You connect on such a deeper level, and you actually have friends, not followers.
Yes, for sure.
When you're not authentic to who you are right now, not who you aspire to be. I mean, hello, we would all like to be bazillionaires, duh. But if we can get there with friends around us, doing what we love, staying in our lane and not trying to go, oh, I got to exit here because that's what so-and-so's doing, and chasing. I totally, that's so hard to do too, because some people don't, they feel inferior, or they feel like they don't have a story, or what they like isn't what other people will like, or they're boring. But I grew up wanting to be an archaeologist. I literally wanted to dig up dinosaur bones. So going to Dinosaur Valley is fun for me. When you told me you found arrowheads all over the ground, that made me have heart palpitations that I need to go there and find that. Like do little, like pick them up and brush them off with one of those little, I love that kind of stuff. I love hiking. I love outdoors. And so when you are niching down and you're not necessarily niching down, you're identifying who you are.
Yes.
And that's not easy. You're like, well, I'm a mom. Well, that's something. That's your page. There's a lot of people that aren't moms, right? You, for instance. I mean, you got to talk to, your avatar is basically who you are.
For sure. And that's
you want your clients to be. And here's another thing. I know, I'm sorry, I'm on a tangent, but you said something at the beginning. There are tons of t-shirts out there. There are t-shirt companies and realtors and Mary Kay people and whatever, right? What makes you different? And over and over and over again, especially with direct sales and people that there's a saturated marketplace. Not only what makes you different, but it's really what makes you. Not different from someone, because there are lots of other moms out there, but what makes you. And then creating your avatar or your ideal audience is who you are. Just so once you identify yourself, then you know who you're looking for. And there are people that are like 70-year-olds that do Mary Kay, and they're trying to appeal to the millennials. Mm-hmm. There are enough other 70-year-olds for you to appeal to. Stay in your lane. So I love that. So tell me about your clientele that comes in and like some fun stories.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I mean, I think you nailed it. You tend to attract who you are, and that's sometimes a byproduct of the real when you're not trying to reach people like you, but that's just natural. And so, specifically in our store, it's been a lot of fun because a lot of teachers are coming in our store and they're sharing inspirational stories of, oh man, it's so cool that other teachers, and you probably have that experience too as a former educator yourself, that people look up to people that are successful, that are doing it the right way. And so we've had, with our store, from Texas Rangers coming in, and they're like, man, this is so cool. We've had, Dallas Stars coming in, pro athletes, musicians. And for us having our store, it's been great that people can come in because of COVID, a fist bump, and really experience our lifestyle and hear the music that we support. When you come into our store, you're hearing music of typically concerts that one of our team members have been in. We designed for like Pat Green, Aaron Watson, Old 97s, Josh Abbott Band. And so you're going to hear their music playing in our store. We serve complimentary Topo Chico and Dr. Pepper and Lone Star Beer, which are brands that we've collaborated with at some point. And so, for us, people come in and they're like, okay, these guys are really who they say they are, and they're consistently executing on that. And so they continue supporting us. Hypocrisy is what people hate. And so the moment you are inconsistent with your behavior and what you do and how you do it is when you lose followers, and when you get haters on social media that want to go on Google reviews and say a bunch of negative things. So that's what I always tell my team is credibility is key. Be who you say you are. Let your yeses be yeses, and just be who we are. Have fun, enjoy life. And to me, that's kind of our secret recipe is we're not trying to be something that we're not. We're just trying to have a good time and live out the skills that God's given us to hopefully impact lives and be a positive influence on people.
Yeah. Wow. I started to tear up when you said people get inspired by just people being successful and doing it the right way, because I feel like we have a community of people doing that, especially at the patios at the Rail Project. Everybody there is a top-notch individual, someone you would want to spend time with. There's no drama. Everybody's amazing. And all their businesses are successful because of authenticity, creative ways of doing business, and quality. I mean, that defines everyone in the Patios Project and downtown in the Rail District. I mean, we're just such a group of humans behind the brand. I say that people come down here because our humans and our history. And it's so funny because I know that the Patios isn't historical, but it is on the spot of the Double Dip. And I think that as educators in our community, that bonds us to our community, and with you guys loving Texas history and those roots. You've thrown down roots in a place that kind of lost them for a second, and you're really bringing life and passion to this corner that it's always had, but now it has in a different way. So I really like that. When you are collaborating with someone, tell me about that. Can anyone come in there, and could we make a bingo shirt, for instance?
Right.
What is that process, and how'd that go with Whataburger, for instance? Give that one as an example.
Right. So for us, our core competency is ultimately hand-drawn designs. My wife, Hillary, who's full-time with us, she was also an art teacher and digital graphics teacher at Liberty. Jeb, we have another artist as well that hand draw all of our designs. Mm-hmm. And so, excuse me. And with that said, that is a reason why we attract other brands. And so honestly, Whataburger came to us and said, hey, we want to be on the Mount Rushmore of Texas, and y'all are really good at branding. You have incredible designs. They actually considered us the go-to Texas t-shirt brand of all Texas. We've sold over 100. Yeah, it's sold over 140,000 products in 2020, and most of them are seen all over Texas. And so they knew we had reach. We've sold shirts to all 50 states, 12 plus countries just in 2020. And so for us, we want to connect to brands that basically help us grow promotionally. So we're not going to work with like family reunions and things that are for the bottom line. When we partner with a brand, it's an investment for what we believe it will bring back to us later.
Right.
Short-term money is great, but when you're hustling short-term sales, that goes back to what I was talking about, chasing.
Yep.
And we don't want to do that. We want to partner with other brands that are like-minded, that have the same target audience or stretches us a little bit beyond our target audience so we can continue expanding our niche. Mm-hmm. And of course, who's going to say no to a Whataburger or a 7-Eleven? And so and as a brand or as an account manager, I look at how many touches is it going to take? Honestly, looking at the bottom line, if I'm going to touch it every day, it better be pretty profitable. And so, and then I got to compare that to our actual brand and think, okay, if we design one shirt, how many can we sell in wholesale? How many can we sell in the store, online with one touch? Okay, that's a lot more valuable than touching 10 calls and 10 emails back and forth with a family reunion shirt that basically is minimal profit. So that's another thing we evaluate is just time as the ROI, return on investment on time, as well as do we have to hire someone? Do we have to outsource? And but those are all the things that we evaluate when it takes into a partnership. But Ozarka, 7-Eleven, Whataburger are all iconic Texas-based brands, and so you're also seeing a common denominator there. It's other brands like us that are achieving great things, and we want to be seen with the best, and so that's why we have done what we've done with them.
Yeah. Oh wow, I love that. There's so many things. I just don't even know where to start. I have a question that's even off the beaten path here, but I think it's important specifically for, I used to have a cost of goods sold category in my whatever. I don't really sell a thing anymore.
Uh-huh.
So I don't have that. But I did, one of my biggest challenges as a business, in 2013 and 14 was my cost of goods sold and the specificity. So I would teach these workshops, buy all the stuff for that one workshop, and then when the workshop was over, whatever I had left was inventory that I had to store or get rid of in some way. What is that a huge challenge for y'all when you're constantly, this goes back to yesterday. I was like, no, winter, hoodies, find him a hoodie. And he's like, they're pushing spring. There's no hoodies.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's 1 degree outside. Okay, buy him 2 shirts.
Yeah. Well,
How do you do that?
For sure. So the times that we've chased, and again, it goes back to chasing. We could have a few customers come in like, we want sweatshirts. Why don't you have a sweatshirt? Well, we sold them, and if we go right now and print them to have it for you, we might have to print 50, 100, 500, 1,000. Yeah. We're going to sell maybe 20, and then we're going to be stuck on stock. And you think of a break-even point on a bell curve, and if you're not able to sell through that in a certain time, then that's actually money lost. And if it's money lost, that's money we don't have to reinvest in new product that could be selling. Right. And so for our store, even our website, I think of goes to real estate. Every inch of our store is real estate. And then if we have product that is, let's say, $500 value, a stack of shirts, and it can't churn in a 30-day time frame or 90-day time frame, that's something else that could have been sitting there selling in that same amount of time frame when we reordered 4 or 5 times. So when we started, the number one issue that we have, and I think every business has with product, is inventory. Inventory management is where you live or die in retail. And so basically for us, we have our own internal life cycle where we launch a product on wholesale. That drives our demand. So we're able to print, 1,000, 5,000, 500 shirts, whatever, to lower our cost of goods. Then once we launch it as a pre-order on wholesale, then we make it available on our online or in our store. And we try to sell it as long as we can. And then we start putting it on sale with our wholesalers as a margin builder so that they have the opportunity to buy it and make the higher profit margin first. And then once we see the decline on sales there, then we put it on sale in our store, because the moment you put it on sale in your store online, it devalues the product and you'll never be able to resell it at the regular value again. And then at a certain point, we have a lot of overstock. And so then we do a closeout warehouse sale once a year, once every 2 years. And it's pretty aggressive prices. But at that point, on a 1,000 shirt print run, we've already hit our profit margin, break-even point. So at that moment, anything is kind of profit. So that's when we're liquidating and trying to make our money back so we can ultimately invest in more people, more product, or a brand new store. So
what you just said was such an amazing strategy that no one would ever know on the front end when they walk into your store. I know why there's no sweatshirts there. I because everybody already bought them.
Yeah.
They were probably awesome. But I totally, I understand that 100%, but I love how you start with the wholesale, and then you get your margins down, and then you give them on sale back to the people who are wholesaling them to get more gone, drive the margins for them, then you put it on sale. It's just something, I don't know if you learned that in school or you learned that over time or a little bit of both, but that is something experience. That's doing. That's right there is realigning your business with what's working and thinking smart and doing things in a certain order matters. It matters.
Well, guts to fail. And the reality is this: we've learned through failure. The best athletes fail all the time. They miss a lot of shots, but they step back up and they move on forward. And again, it goes back to, if you're focused on what your competitors are doing, if you're focused on what other people are doing, it's hard to get back up and move forward. You keep on backstepping and looking backwards. And to me, part of guts to fail is you fail, you step up, you take notes, you learn, you evaluate, and you keep on moving forward. And unfortunately, we've learned the hard way too many times, but we keep on, dusting off the dirt and moving forward. And that's why we are where we are at, is persistency, hustle, and honestly, just not being scared to fail, and having a little bit of faith in our faith, and believing that things will work out if we do things the right way.
Wow, you just hit the nail on the head. There's no other way to end this than that. I appreciate you, Brian. You have a great day. You go sell the hell out of some t-shirts. We love you, and I will be back in there because there's lots of birthdays coming up. So I'll see you later. Thank you so much. You are an asset to our community.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.